This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SCIF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SCIF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SCIF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SCIF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health, intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at scifmissions.org.
Proceed to your post assignment. All units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! In a room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Artists with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the MisFitNation. No damn labels, no damn cages. If you're still breathing, you belong. Turn it up. This is our song. Yeah. This is our song. Yeah. Veterans standing with ghosts in the chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed. That's the misfit play. It's heavy right now.
Welcome back to the Sunday after dinner edition of the Misfit Nation. I hope everyone that is in this storm belt is staying warm, and those of you who are used to the cold are also staying warm because you know how to layer up. Us down here in the South, we're not too good at this. So once it snows, things shut down, and things shut down for a long time. Snow started yesterday. As soon as it started, school was closed till Wednesday. So that just gives you a little glimpse of where we are. It's probably going to be closed all week due to this storm. If you're watching the NFL right now and glancing in at us, thank you for being here with us. We know the Rams and Seahawks are playing right now in the NFC Championship game. The Patriots already punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. So if you're a Patriots fan, if you're still a Patriots fan when you were a bandwagon fan when Tom Brady was there and you're back on, congratulations to you. If you're a pure fan, congratulations. Everyone else, thanks for being here and collecting those frequent flyer miles. We love you here, and we love to have you here every night. Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, of course, live. And, of course, I'm here with you tonight, and I have a great guest. We're honored to welcome United States Army veteran Jane Babcock, a retired Sergeant First Class with over 21 years of service, and a former county veteran service officer who has helped file over 1,000 VA claims. Her journey spans multiple MOSs, 4 DD-214s, and a transition experience that exposed critical gaps in veteran support, gaps she spent her life working to close. So without further ado, let's welcome Jane Babcock to the Misfit Nation.
Hello,
welcome, Jane.
Rich.
Welcome, welcome. Great to see you live here. We talked the other night on the phone. Now we can see each other's faces and, see we're real people. We're not AI.
That's for sure.
So how are you tonight, Jane?
Doing good, thanks. Loving it. We actually got up over 0 today, so we're happy.
Outstanding. Like you heard in my intro, we do not do cold here very well in Tennessee. And add snow to cold, and it just gets exponentially worse. So we'll be shut down all week probably here, minus essential workers. I know you guys don't shut down unless it's like 30 feet of snow. So
yeah,
here an inch does it.
It's
so
snow that shuts us down, but it's too cold to snow, so we're okay.
There you go. See, it's too cold to snow. Listen to that, people. Too cold to snow. But yet here, that little inch. Anyway, Jane, I gave the elevator pitch story about you right there. I want you to tell the Misfit Nation a little bit more about yourself from as far back as you want to go to how we got here.
Okay. Well, I was 23 when I enlisted. Wanted to go to school. Didn't have any money to do it, and decided the military was my route. I'm third generation, so I was familiar with what it meant. But I did 21 and a half years. I did 4.5 active duty, and then got a great job offer in Washington, D.C. Got out, took the job, back and forth to the reserves, ended up with 4 DD-214s covering 8.5 years of active duty. And then the rest of the time I was reserve. But we were prepping to go to Afghanistan when I was doing some urban training, was in a stupid training accident, blew out my neck and my shoulder, and things just added on top of the minor injuries I'd had before. So I was a broken toy, and they told me to go home. Nobody said VA, nobody said med board or anything to me. They just went, fine, here, you got 21 and a half, you're in the retired reserves. And I went, okay, because I was stoned on Vicodin. But then I became a county veteran service officer 3 years later, and I went, oh, I could have gone to VA.
Wow.
For everything. So I think that's part of what drives me so much to continue on doing the outreach and the teaching now when I'm fully retired.
And you're still doing great things for not just you. Like I said in the intro, you're trying to close that gap between what's offered or what's taught to the soldier, sailor, Marine, Airman, Space Forcean as they start coming out to what's actually there. And there's you opened my eyes to a lot of things just the other night on a phone call, and we're not going to be able to get all of that tonight, but we'll get some of it. And I told you we'll have you back for the second part of that with the Tuesday crew. Let them talk to you for the other part of the benefits that are just out there and people are just out there flapping, not knowing about.
Sure. There's some basic stuff every veteran should know. And then from there, they can reach out to their accredited VSO who will help them learn all the rest of the details.
Definitely. And that's another thing we talked about the other night, actually getting up and saying, I need that help, and going to get that help, instead of saying, well, this is what they gave me. I'll just sit with that. I'll sit with that 20% or 30% that they said I'm worth after I got hurt in the Army or in whatever service. And that's all I'm going to get. So I might as well just go to work and deal with that pain and suffering the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I found that when soldiers came home, servicemen came home, a lot of times we had to send them back to the VA for a reevaluation, because the military side of the house is notorious for underrating. And a lot of that comes from the fact that they don't want to rate you too high. Otherwise, they might have to consider you for a medical retirement. So if your injuries and illnesses make you unfit for duty, you should have had retirement benefits like I should have.
Right.
So you're probably due to get reevaluated.
Yeah. A lot of people need to. And I mean, I think we talked about this the other night too. If you're not 100% over 10 years, then you're still in that, or not at a percentage over 10 years. There's a sticky spot within there where you have to actually still go to that doctor and make sure everything's right, but also make sure that you're checking those blocks to maybe move that 60 to 80 or 60 to 100, and not just sit at that low number where you could be making so much more money and not suffering as much as you are right now.
Well, and it's not just about the money part of it, because really you need the health care, and anything you're service connected for is obviously all care and treatment, local emergency room visits, everything else is covered by the VA at no cost. So right now, with insurance being such a scary discussion with the ending of the supplements and things like that, VA has no premiums. They have very low copays. And then if you're rated at 50% or greater, you have no copays. So literally your health care could be totally free for the rest of your life.
Right.
And that puts your family in a position where if suddenly something happens and you pass away, they may be entitled to some supplemental income through 2 of the different programs. So don't not register a service-connected injury illness. It'll make it easier for them later on if that's somehow related to your death.
Definitely. And identifying the gap that was there, especially when you came out, when there was no tap when you came out, you were just, hey, you're done. Thank you. Here's your flag and your plaque or whatever. Shake your hand and go.
Sorry, I didn't even get a flag.
Oh, so man, sorry to rub that salt. All right. But
yeah, well, they were busy packing the connexes and stuff, and it was just kind of like, I didn't even go out in the yard and get a chance to say goodbye to my boys. I was a platoon mama at the time. So
that makes it even harder, knowing that they left and went into harm's way without you after all that training.
Oh yeah.
And you had to stay back, and knowing that your career is over at that point. Where do you see us now as compared to then? Are we a lot better, or are we in a better place now?
We are slightly better.
Okay.
On the DoD side of the house, yes, they have TAPS, but how many guys are so mission critical that they can't get to the TAPS classes? And then the TAPS classes that are there are inadequate as far as covering the family benefits and where the family goes in case of an emergency, like if you're in the ER unconscious. Most spouses and especially adult children don't know what to do for you, but yet the VA could be covering 100% of your medical care, including that ER visit. So it's not adequate. And unfortunately, the VA used to have a federal benefit book that they published every year, and it covered all the benefits, not really well explained on some of them, language-wise, but it was put out. Well, they printed the ones for 2025 last fall, but on the January executive order, the federal government decided they were not going to issue. Any agency was not allowed to issue any kind of material that mentions LGBTQ services or benefits. And that includes Social Security and everything else. So their solution was to just leave them in the warehouse. Now, Social Security hasn't issued their books from last year. The VA hasn't issued theirs. The answer is go to the internet, which leaves a large portion of our population unable to find the information. Or, if you're a Korean War veteran, you're not going to know to even Google, is there a VA wartime pension? Because you don't know that benefit exists. How are you going to go research it?
And if you go back that far, many of those men and women from the Korean War, Vietnam War, if they didn't get the help as soon as they got out, they never went back to the VA anyway. So there's a big divide within those two groups before it came to the Quad or the Cold War and Quad era veteran, where it's kind of thrown at you that hey, the VA is here, and that's because of the suffering they went through. So I mean, now I think it's much better for us, and it's much better now than it was in 2015 when I got out. For the Joe and Josephine, when they come out now, they're doing concurrent compensation exams with their military and VA at the same time. So the day they get out, everything's already completed and they start their benefits. I think that's way better than it was even when I left in 15.
Yeah, but I don't know that I've ever, I literally am connected with 16,000 plus people on LinkedIn. I do phone calls, at least a couple phone calls every week with veterans and expats living in Spain and everything else. And when I ask, do you know what special monthly compensations are? Do you know you might be eligible for over $1,000 more than 100% service connection? Or what you need to do? Do you know that there's dental insurance through Delta and MetLife? They came to the VA and said, anybody that's enrolled in VA will give them a discount on the dental insurance. So if you're with Delta and you're not getting the discount, maybe you should call them because you're enrolled in VA.
Because dentists will take your money. They will definitely take your money.
Yep. Yeah. And there's 3 levels. There's basically I'm the only person on the plan kind of thing. I'm rated 40% through the VA or 70%. So I don't get dental. Well, you can get that, don't need a lot of dental insurance. Or you can get the family plan with the kids that have the braces and everything else.
Yes. Which will have to make you mortgage a home for braces now. So just think about that, those expenses, especially if you're a young veteran coming out and still have those young kids who are going to get braces, because for some reason every kid gets braces now. I don't think I see any young people without braces, and some of them are getting as young as probably 10 and 11, and it's before their teeth are even fully formed. So they're pushing braces immediately in a lot now, I guess, because it's a big moneymaker.
Yeah. And there's other little things that they don't teach you. Like when you're first coming out of service, that if they don't tell you your presumptive illnesses, if you come out of service and within the first 7 years, you get a diagnosis of MS, multiple sclerosis, because your diagnosis, it takes so long to diagnose that disease. It is such a slow progression disease that if they diagnose you, say 6 years and 6 months later, that disease is considered to have started in service. So that is a presumptive, which means the VA only wants the diagnosis and the proof that you were in service. That's it.
And I think another thing, I don't think I've heard the word presumptive when I went through TAPS both times, or when I went to the VA or with Wounded Warrior Project. I never heard the word presumptive. It wasn't until probably 5 years after service where I heard presumptive, and that was when the burn pit registry started, really. And people, they had you signing up for that, for the presumptive illnesses that could be attributed to the burn pit stuff. And that's the first time I ever heard that word, and that's 5 years after for me, just hearing the word presumptive.
Yep.
I hope, and I know before that, probably no one heard of it. And that's where people like you come in, and you're able to bridge that gap, at least, of the vocabulary that's out there for the VA, and being able to get through the nuances of the VA regulations.
Rich, curious, are you generational?
What do you mean?
Did your dad serve, or your mom, or what generation are you?
My grandfather served World War II. My dad in Vietnam era. my brother in Cold War, and then me, Quat.
Okay. Well, my grandfather served World War I and World War II, did 30 years.
Wow.
And my dad served in World War II, so they were both over in Europe at the same time. And my grandfather actually served in the officer training camp with a captain, or at the time, Lieutenant Doug Patton, who was George's cousin.
Oh, wow.
So my grandpa got to meet George and became friends with him, and they remained friends throughout of time until George passed. So I have letters with back and forth between the two. Well, I have the from George to my grandpa's side of those letters.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing link.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I don't think you could see it, but behind me up on there is a World War I Purple Heart. And that was actually, there it is.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my grandfather's World War I Purple Heart.
Wow.
Because they didn't have the medal until 1932.
That's amazing.
But typical soldier, he didn't tell anybody why. But the internet is a wonderful thing. By Googling him and his unit and stuff, I found a diary that a family had posted from another guy in his unit. And on one of the pages, it said that Captain Cook was born off the battlefield due to shrapnel injury. So I suspect that's why he got it.
Yeah. Wow, definitely. Now, we got a question from someone who knows you. They've chimed in a couple times already. This is their question now. This is from @Merit Exposure. If a veteran reaches 100%, what dental options are available? In other words, what will they provide?
VA, it becomes your dental source. They determined that I had fractured the roof of my mouth when I was injured in my last injuries.
Wow.
But I didn't realize it. Nobody did at the time because we were so concerned with my neck and shoulder. So all these years later, they realized that they needed to re-break the roof of my mouth, push my sinuses back up in place, and they rebuilt this whole portion of my jaw. So they will do everything from the simplest filling and cleanings and everything else. Just call up your VA, let them know you're 100%. Now, you have to be 100% permanent and total. But most guys don't realize that even if you're not 100% permanent and total, you may still be eligible for some, if not all, dental. One of my girls was rated 60% for mild TBI, and she had what were called silent seizures.
Okay.
She would stare off into space for 30 seconds. She would just kind of lose contact with what was going on around her for a few seconds at a time. So they were able to control it with medication. But because of that, the medicine caused her gums to draw back and all of her teeth started getting loose.
Oh, wow.
And since it was, hey, you wouldn't be taking this medicine if you weren't service connected for this condition. So she gets dental.
Wow.
Or
Yes.
our very oldest veterans, some guys, especially if they had massive PTSD and never got it treated, maybe had a drug and alcohol problem throughout their lives, and their nutrition factor was extremely poor. So now their teeth are literally rotting in their mouth. The VA, if you're not able to take in proper nutrition, will at least fix that problem, whether it's pull the teeth and give them dentures or something like that. So it can be a medical thing that causes you to need the dental. So don't ever give up. Just ask.
Awesome. Yeah, I see the dentist office in the Nashville VA all the time. It's always jam packed. So I just go to my appointment and leave because I have family dental care, so I don't rely on that for that portion as much as maybe I could if I felt like driving to Nashville all the time to do that stuff.
Well, and the other thing to think about is retirees. I've run into retirees that didn't know that there's a program called FedVip that can be very inexpensive insurance for dental and vision for their family. I think we pay like $30 a month for my husband on dental and like $17 for his vision.
Wow.
But that's because I'm a retiree. So if you're a retiree out there and you're not, some of these guys, they got their benefits early enough on that they just never stopped back and asked if there's something new.
Right. And that's, I think, part of the problem. Once you get that initial rating or initial finding, you don't go back because you think, oh, that's it. That's all I'm getting. And then there's some that, they keep going. They pay people to get them in there, get their money up. They get all the Nexus letters. They do all this stuff to get that rating up. And they spend a lot of money to do that. We talked about this the other night, that you will never charge a veteran to do that stuff. And I'm wholeheartedly against making a veteran pay for those things. If I can find someone in my network, like you now are in my network, I can point them to, and you be able to point them to someone local to them that can help them for free. That's the way we should go.
For most of us, our tax dollars are paying for people to be in offices all across the country who are trained and fully accredited to provide those services for free. They're veteran service officers. So why not use the free service you're already paying for?
Right. It already comes out of your taxes. You might as well do it.
Yep.
And I know ours is right in the, I guess, the county government center. Has every kind of office there possible, from your license, driver's license, license plates, marriage licenses, taxes, and then the VSO office is right in there as well. So if it's like one-stop shop. If you need all that stuff in one day, just spend your day down there. It's free parking. Get in there. They have free coffee in most of those places. You'll be able to hang out and get the stuff right.
I would have guys come in and we'd be talking, and it was really the spouse that needed services. And they didn't realize how much your state or county can provide services. So I just pick up the phone and say, Mary Lou, do you got time? Can I send so-and-so downstairs to you? And they come back going, oh my God, they're going to do this, that, and the next thing for her. And they gave her a shower chair, and they, or talked about putting a ramp on her house for her and stuff. Yeah.
And there's so many things out there that we don't know what we don't know. And that's where that VSO office should be advertising these things, or at least if you walk in there, hey, what do you know? And maybe give you a briefing, or maybe host a briefing every month or so everyone gets on that same page and understands what actually they are authorized and what they're not getting that they should be getting.
Right. But unfortunately, that comes with having a advertising budget, and most counties don't have that kind of money. To me, this falls back on the VA. Their first point of failure is not providing those handbooks. It's not doing advertising. It's not the federal benefit books. They didn't even put them in the lobby where veterans could find them. If you went to a VA hospital, you had to know to either go up to the library or down to the experience office to get one of those books. And it's like, why isn't this in the lobby where not only the veteran and their spouse might learn, but their own staff? I used to have to teach their staff. I have a heart rhythm issue and nothing to do with service, but I would sit in the cardiology lobby and see guys with Vietnam veterans hats on, and I go, do you have ischemic heart disease or coronary artery disease or this? That's all presumptive. And they would go, what do you mean? What does that mean? The cardiologists didn't know.
Wow. That helps us all out.
Yeah. I would take the books into the cardiologist. Here's the Agent Orange book. Here's the Burn Pit book.
Yeah, I know when I went through TAPS, they handed those books out to us.
Yep.
I got two of them, and I think we talked about this, as a lot of us are hard-headed, and those books never got opened. So I took them, put them in my backpack, my assault bag at the time, and they stayed in there for probably forever. And I probably still have never read them. But when I went to the Wounded Warrior Project, the counselor I had there, he used to work for the VA, so he knew a lot of stuff, and he taught me a lot of things that I did not know, and he helped me out a lot. But not everyone has that out, and a lot of us hardheads don't read those books anyway. So not having the book is 50-50, because some people will never look at it, and then there's some people that'll go through there, they'll tab everything, they'll highlight it, and that's the two types of veterans. There's some that are just hard-headed, and if you don't tell me it, I don't know it, because I will not read that book.
Yeah. Well, and the worst part about that is, like, you are generational. your mom or dad might be missing out on benefits like a wartime pension. You said your dad was Vietnam era. Okay, he didn't go to Vietnam, but he still served during wartime. And he suddenly started having large medical bills like in-home care or assisted living for him or his spouse. He might qualify for a supplemental income program, program called wartime non-service connected pension. They take the household, subtract the medical bills, and say, oh, you're living on less than poverty. Here's some money to get you up to 130% of poverty.
Wow. Now I'll get my brother who lives with my dad, and both of them serve and probably don't know that. So hopefully they can talk to each other and go down to the office and get some stuff going. I know they use the VA loan to get their house.
Yep.
So
and hopefully, if the veteran passes, if the veteran served during wartime, that spouse is entitled to use that program. I used to put a lot of widows on it the first year because we got to use the veteran's funeral expense. Well, there's $10,000 or $15,000 easily off of her new income.
Right.
That usually meant she was upside down.
And my other brother just chimed in here. He said, our dad is too stubborn to go. There he is.
I want to talk to him. Maybe I can pull rank on him. Was he E7 or above?
He was probably busted down to PFC a few times. So I think he got out as a corporal.
Ooh, well, I will be more than the best day I had in my military career was calling up and telling my dad, I outrank you. Click.
Yeah, I think he was a high-speed corporal. So he was very good at being a corporal or the E4 Mafia. He was good at that portion. Has a lot of memories, but I think a lot of them due to where he grew up and what he learned to do as a kid in the city that didn't help him in the Army. So
yeah.
All right, we have a couple more questions in the audience from the audience here. This is from Salem's a lot too. What was it like transitioning out of the Army before programs like TAPS even existed? Thank you, Salem's a lot.
It was, you went to the office. They might take your TA-50 back from you. If you're on an active duty post, they're going to send you around, make you sign out to all the places. And then they're going to say, if you are coming off an active duty and you have one last move to go home. So they'll set that up for you and then they'll say goodbye. In my case, I walked into the unit and I said, remember that training accident? Well, now I can't feel my right arm and the neurosurgeon says he needs to cut my neck open.
God.
And stood there, like I said, stoned on Vicodin, and my unit administrator went, oh, well, you got 21 and a half, sign here, you're in the retired reserves. He didn't even ask for my TA-50 back.
Wow.
Yeah. So a couple months later, when they were in Afghanistan, I went and turned it into company headquarters.
At least they took it back then. You didn't have to sell it to the local Army Navy store.
All but one piece.
All but one piece. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question from Merit Exposure. Do you have an opinion on the upcoming changes to the rating schedule for PTSD and OSA? I know the changes for OSA aren't good for the veteran, but how about the PTSD change?
Well, they haven't published them yet. And speaking of changes, they've already made some changes as of January 14th. They just announced changes that they are implementing at the end of September, at the end of the fiscal year. Tinnitus is going to disappear. It's no longer going to be a standalone rateable condition. It will be rolled up into things like neck injury or head injury, hearing loss, things like that. So if you were someone who was exposed to noise but didn't have a, quote, injury or didn't have hearing loss or maybe took too much Motrin can cause tinnitus. Antibiotics can cause tinnitus, but that's really hard to prove. So tinnitus isn't going to exist after October 1. If you have it, you need to get it filed. Now, then you'll be grandfathered in. The official change that started January 14th is that conditions that are considered acute or transitory will not be rated. But it doesn't explain a definition of acute or transitory. And it doesn't define which conditions they're going to consider are transitory. There are certain things that, are they going to be, if the rater is interpreting the way that they're supposed to apply it, they might say, oh, well, you only have sinus problems every summer. Or, well, that's transitory. Or you only have migraines, one migraine every 3 months, but maybe it's because you had a neck injury or brain, or, TBI, or shoulder injuries can cause migraines, or medicines that you're taking for other service-connected stuff. So what's the definition of acute? They've already put that in the regulation, and now it's so wide. The door is open so wide for interpretation now by these different raters. So is that going to create a whole new chaos at the appeals and Board of Veterans Appeals? Because again, it's not defined, but it's in the regulation now.
Now, if you have OSA, obstructive sleep apnea, or PTSD in your records now, and tinnitus, and all these other ones that you just mentioned, you're fine. You're grandfathered in as those changes come in, right? You don't have to go back and do anything with that.
Only if you get that claim in. You got to get that claim started. If you don't start that claim and you wait till October 1 or later to put in that claim for tinnitus, it won't matter that you talked about it while you were in service.
Right.
Okay. Now, as far as the respiratory, they're covering the whole respiratory rating system and the whole mental health rating system. They're looking at changing those. And none of us have any kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling that it's going to be in our favor. Like they're going to come back and say, okay, sleep apnea, less than so many events in one night. Maybe they're just going to say, okay, that's a 0 now. And maybe it used to be 10. But sleep apnea was always a 50.
Yep.
Because it wasn't, you can't determine its impact on the physical body. Sleep apnea affects every organ and every function system in your body. So they used to just put it at 50% and call it quits. Well, are they going to turn around and start saying, okay, well, if it's only so many events in a night, is that a 0? And you have to have this many events to make it a 10? And or it is your body mass index over 35%, we're not going to consider it service connected? Yeah, we see the potential. Those of us that are geeks and like to read the regulations.
There you are. I didn't want to say those words.
Yeah. We see the potential for them to open the door. I actually sit and watch the, congressional Veterans Committee meetings and stuff like that. I'll have that playing in the background while I'm doing things.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're deep in it. Yes.
Yeah, but it's where I catch the little things, like the fact that they changed the reg on January 14th and it already went into effect. There was whispers that stuff was coming, but we were thinking it was all going to be part of this change to the respiratory, mental health, and audiology stuff. But no, it's already in effect.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad all that stuff is already rated in mine. I don't have to worry about it, but I worry for those who, like I was telling you the other day, I have friends that they took that initial rating and didn't go back. Now they're going to try to go back, and it's not going to be there for them because it's not going to be available.
Yeah.
Because
the guys that are just coming out, the guys that get out next November, tinnitus will no longer be on the rating chart.
It's a weird world we live in. So that's about what I can say on that one.
Yep. This is why it's important to voice your opinion, because these people are doing stuff behind our backs.
Definitely. 100% they do. And it goes to whoever's in their pocket this year or at the time of the election. That's where things go. And the person that loses isn't anyone that's in those decision-making rooms. It's the service member or their families. that's who loses in all these situations. So be careful who you vote for. Make sure you trust in that person and understand that politics is a game to them, and you're just most times a pawn.
Yeah.
So get
Yep.
that in your head.
Most of those people out in Washington making these decisions are not veterans. They don't understand the impact. You know, you take 4 years out of a person's life,
Yep.
and then they got to go back into the working world. And we have to learn a whole new language because we spent 4 years talking in acronyms, and you get in the outside world, and 4 years of, look, my boss says do this, you go and do it.
Yep.
Out in
And
the
do it
civilian
now.
world, they have to suck up to you.
I mean, you're supposed to do things now in the military. When you get out, you have hours on each job, X amount of time per each job. So for the veteran, it's very hard to just waste that much time. If you give me a task, I'm going to finish it. And then I look like I'm trying to outdo you. So it causes strife within the workplace. And that's hard for the veteran, especially. That's why so many leave that first job within the first year.
Yeah.
We do have a couple more questions in here for
Definitely
you.
an impact.
This one is from @RebuildYear. How did your own experience with VA claims shape the way you advocate for other veterans? Thank you, Rebuild Year.
My claim, I actually filed my claim about 18 months after I, quote, became a CVSO. Because for one thing, it took me 6 months plus to go and actually do the training. I was already doing the paperwork based on what my mentor was telling me to do. He was in another county. But my experience, lucky for me, I live out in Wisconsin. And because I had the training at state and at national level, when I got ready to do my claim, I knew exactly what evidence, how many buddy statements I needed, for things that weren't identified in service, but were identified later, but were related to events in service. So my claims went through really easily. But working with people, I had a Korean War guy that was shot, put in a field hospital. The field hospital was overrun in the winter. He was left in the frozen rubble for almost 2 days. When some Marines came in, pulled him out, took him back to their place, warmed him up, and then a week later got him back to his unit. He had no record of being shot, much less having gunfight.
Golly.
So, and there's no way a doctor is going to give a nexus, because a good nexus letter should actually say, having reviewed this person's service medical record and his continuing medical records and his personal statements and his spouse's statement, I believe it's as likely as not that, in other words, 50-50, equipoise. Yep. You put that scale in balance, VA has to prove that it's not service connected. So all that stuff needs to go in a nexus letter. Well, if you have service treatment records and you have the medical records since service and or witness statements since service, like your spouse and your employer and stuff, then why do you need a nexus letter? You've got witnesses to the car accident and its effect. So, yeah, there's a lot that can be done that has nothing to do with getting a nexus letter. Granted, a nexus letter is nice. And, doctors have been treating you since you got out of service. Yeah, he can say, oh, yeah, well, I first saw him, 8 months after service for this problem. So, he can make an easy, yeah, it's as likely as not. It's a 50-50 or better.
Right.
But you can provide so much in personal statements and buddy statements. And sometimes it's just research showing that, buddy statements saying, yeah, he used this chemical like jet fuel or MoGas or PB680 solvent. And then I would take things like the OSHA report showing what the ingredients were in those things and what the medical risks were.
Right.
PB680 or PD680 has a lot of carcinogens in it. I had a 27-year-old guy with lung cancer, and he'd never smoked.
Wow.
So, hello, guys. What was the major thing he was exposed to in service? Was that chemical.
Yep.
And guess what? The first medical risk on there, lung cancer. So we got him his claim based on just that.
Wow. Right. it's good and bad that it had to go to that to get the claim, but it's good that there's people like you who were able to help him along that trail to get that done, and hopefully he's in a better place now.
Yeah. Well, they took out half a lung, but he's good.
Well, half's better than a whole, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, next question. This is from I Lost You One. What are the most common mistakes veterans make when filing their disability claims? Thank you, I Lost You One.
Okay. The big thing with VA is any injury or illness caused by or aggravated by military service that is a chronic detractor to the quality of life and or employment and has a current diagnosis. So many guys walk in and go, my wife says I have to file for PTSD because I'm a grumpy son of a gun and I drink too much. Okay, have you ever been diagnosed?
Nope.
You know? Well, no, because if I go to those head doctors, they're just going to want to stuff pills down me. Not true. Vet centers are full of vet centers are counseling centers all over the country. They are associated with the VA. They are funded by the VA, but they're not directly connected as far as medical records go. They are combat veterans and they are counselors. They can't prescribe medicine. But they can do 6 or 8 sessions with you, write down all the notes, especially about the traumatic events in service. And then you go to the head shrink at the VA and he reads the notes and he goes, oh yeah, you have all the classic symptoms. You have these 2 or 3 events in service. I agree with your counselor at the vet center. You have PTSD. So I would file that intent that day.
Yep.
And then I would send him off to the vet center for 6 or 8 counseling sessions. And he'd go over to the doc and get the official diagnosis by DSM-5. And then we would notify the VA, please see VA treatment records this date from this clinic or wherever they were, quote, diagnosed at. And there it was. So you have to have diagnosis. You can't just say, I have knee pain, because is it a torn cartilage that maybe you were mentioned in your service treatment record? Or do you have a cyst behind your knee that's causing the pain?
Yeah.
So you have to have a current diagnosis. You have to have chronic history. And, you come home, you take ibuprofen, you put ice packs on your knee every so often, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you stop playing baseball on the company team because of your knee gives away. Well, you didn't go to a doctor. You don't have medical records. This is where those buddy statements come in. Your spouse can talk about you sitting on the couch with ice packs on your knee. Yep. Your employer can talk about how, well, yeah, he used to work on line A, but he had to do a lot of bending and stooping because his knee was causing so much swelling and stuff. We moved him over to line B. So that employer is talking about the fact that your knee was swelling and stuff. That's just as good as a medical record. That's a witness statement to your pain and your symptoms.
Definitely is.
But it has to have chronic history.
Yeah.
Twist your ankle in basic training and it's 40 years before you have problems with it again.
It's going to be hard.
So, you're a little older now than you were then.
Yeah. It's hard to get up anyway now.
Yeah. You got aches and pains elsewhere too that have nothing to do with service.
Zero to do, but you can blame it on it, I guess, in some weird way. We do have 2 more questions from the audience in here. This is from @Kelly Sampson. How can veterans better prepare themselves before separating or retiring from service? Thank you, Kelly.
You need to go to sick call. I know they dogged us out all the time, didn't want to be a sick call ranger or whatever. You got to go. You got to go and talk to the doc. If there's something going on, you got to get those buddy statements from the guys. You're on a convoy, you jump off the back of the dew snap, your knee twists around and you eat dirt. And maybe you see the field medic a couple days later. Well, odds are that record that he made, if he made a record, isn't even going to go into your medical record. So this is the time. You have access to the email system. Find those guys that you served with, whether it was Fort Knox or the Sandbox.
Yep.
Find them now and say, hey, do you remember when I did this? Okay, would you write a statement about the fact that you saw this? It's called a buddy statement, and there's a specific outline that VA is looking for, and that's why your VSO is so important, because they can help you tell the other guys, here's the template, this is how it needs to go.
Definitely.
So that, get those medical exams, get those buddy statements for incidences that aren't in your record. Go get those tests. If you're having breathing problems, you need to go and get checked out because of those presumptives. Lung cancer, if you were in the Sandbox, that's a big problem.
Yep.
Get those tests done now. Catch that potentially dangerous illness early. And do it while Uncle Sugar's paying for it.
Yes. And you're not weak for going. And remember, as soon as you raise your right hand to serve the country, you should start planning for your transition. It's going to end at some point. Mm-hmm. Once you start, it has to end. So prepare from day one what your next moves are. It's like chess. Just got to know what 3 moves away are and make that plan. You got to get out at some point. You can't do a kid's game forever. It's just like a football player, baseball player, basketball player. They know their career is not going to last their whole life. They have to have a plan in place for the next time, the next thing. You do too. So let's get that going.
And when you do file those claims, if you start those claims in service, but you know where your landing zone is going to be after service. Mm-hmm. I had guys that would call me up, hey, I'm out here in Colorado and I'm at the Wounded Warrior Unit, and somebody, Tommy from back home gave me your name. And I would say, okay, pick one of these 5 national organizations, because I was accredited with 5 of the national organizations. I had their permission to do claims in their name. So I would give them the list of who I was already accredited with. And that way, when the guy came home, he just signed like at the bank, and bam, I was his representative.
Wow, nice.
I could see his claiming system. I could see what they did or didn't do right or wrong.
Awesome. And last question from the audience. This is probably a good one here. From Daily Run. What changes would you most like to see in how the military handles transitions and benefits education? Thank you, Daily Run.
I would like to see them develop a much better online course that you can refer back to, right before you're getting out, after you get out, and things like that. I would like to see them handing the federal benefit book. I would like to see them doing better at teaching the spouses. Too many of our guys come home and they are so lost, and their mental health is so off the wall. They're running ditch to ditch on the road, that the spouses need to know. If he's talking anything about giving away his belongings, if he's talking about leaving, and he doesn't mean going on vacation, you can take that veteran to the nearest emergency room.
Yep.
And the VA will pay for it, even if he's not enrolled in VA healthcare. If he is talking really stupid, they will pay up to 30 days at your local hospital if the VA doesn't have a bed available for him.
Wow.
Our guys should not be leaving the world on these numbers that they are. There's too many safety nets. And if they're service connected for that PTSD and they go into a treatment program for more than 28 days, whether it's through the VA or at the local hospital for 30 days, they're entitled to 100% service connection for that one condition. While they're in treatment for 28 days, whether it's cancer treatment, God forbid, or knee replacement for that service-connected knee, or if they have a recovery, active recovery, that's like cancer treatments. You get a service-connected cancer, you are 100% during the time you have active cancer and for 1 year after, while they're determining that you are totally cancer-free. So recovery is just as important as the actual event of getting your surgeries.
Yes. Awesome. Great answer. Hope you guys wrote that stuff down. like I told Jane at the beginning of the show, we're probably going to have her back on with your Tuesday crew to let them give questions from their angle, so we get more of these benefit questions out there and more of these process questions with the VA. So you guys are, your toolbox is filled a little more high, your rucksack's full, and you guys have that success finish line in front of you. And you can't say you didn't know at that point, at least not from our aspect. We know we gave you everything we could at this point.
And I'm easy to find. Jane Babcock.
There you go.
You can go on LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn account. I'm usually the first one that pops up. And if not, I'm easy to find because I'm veterans benefits educator in Wisconsin. And or you can go to like YouTube or any of the platforms and say Jane Babcock, and you're going to find me podcasts all over the place.
Now, is that the best way to contact you, is straight through LinkedIn, or is there an email as well?
Yeah, because I get my notifications from LinkedIn. So a lot of times I know, hey, I'm out right now. I'm at the store, but as soon as I get home, I'll send you these tools. Or let's set up an appointment time to call at 5 o'clock tonight.
Awesome. All right, so that took out one of my last two questions. You did it for me. Thank you. And the last question I have for you, I ask every guest at the end, what's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
For me personally,
To share them. Yeah.
just keep informing us of things that are happening and changing, especially things that affect the veteran world, so that we can put pressure on our legislators. And the other thing is kind of remind people every so often that, hey, don't pay somebody $5,000 to do 3 hours of paperwork. A presumptive illness takes less than 3 hours to do. That probably takes less than 2 hours.
Yes.
So paying somebody $5,000?
It's nuts. Yes.
Yeah.
It's highway robbery.
Out there. And the worst part about it is most of them are veterans.
Yep. Sharks. I'll call them sharks, yes.
Yeah.
Jane, thank you so much for hanging out with us on a Sunday night from Wisconsin, in your warm Wisconsin day there, and sharing your knowledge. And you have institutional knowledge with the VA claims process and the benefits process. And that's something that's invaluable to our audience. So thank you very much for being here.
Oh, Rich, thank you for another opportunity to educate more of the family.
Outstanding. Thank you, Jane. Misfit Nation, thank you for tuning in tonight. Like we say every night when we're about to sign off, a day with you tomorrow is 100% better than one without you. If you're feeling those walls caving in, the darkness is coming, just stop, take a deep breath. Remember, there are people around you that love you, people that will miss you. Reach into your wallet, that 1-inch piece of paper with 3 names on it I told you keep in there. Call all 3 of them. Let them know that you're going through something. They want to hear it. They want to hear your voice. They want you here tomorrow. If you can't get in contact with them, dial at 988. Take option 1 if you are a veteran. If you're not, follow the prompts. And if you don't want to do either of those, contact us. info@themisfitnation.com, Steven@themisfitnation.com, or Jake@themisfitnation.com. We will get back with you, and one of us will keep you on the phone until someone else can get someone in your local area to go help you and make sure you're with us tomorrow. Till next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.